brings a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common Man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello.
You find this funny, Mr. Groh? You're smiling. You find this humorous? No, they're not. Do you find this humorous, Mr. Groh? You're laughing and smiling. I'm just wondering if you do. You didn't answer my question, Mr. Groh. Do you find this humorous?
No, I find it in keeping with 4 years.
At least you're not smiling and laughing now. Oh, I guess you're back at it again now.
Only able to regroup, then it's poked away by Burke, who takes over. Pushes it up ahead to McGregor. Holy Cross coming down with a 3-on-2. McGregor from the right side, centering feet. Oh, my God! Oh, Tyler McGregor! Yes! Tyler off of a rebound, puts it past Tyler Reagan, and Holy Cross has knocked off the Minnesota Golden Gophers! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yes! Oh my goodness! We're not going home yet, baby! Just 53 seconds into overtime, and the Holy Cross Crusaders are mobbing Tyler McGregor and Tony Casada! It's the second chance! It's the second effort, and it goes in! Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Yes, I do! Holy Cross has shocked the world right now!
Okay, calm down.
Mark, they can't pitch. They can't hit. What is with? I mean, come on.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
I think that's all been established a long, long time ago in a galaxy not far, far away. Speaking of that, Paul Charchi, nice to see him again. I don't think he's moved back. Is he moving back or is he staying in Utah? I think he's staying in Utah, but he's visiting. He was on with the Paul Allen Project today. And a major announcement today. I mean, yeah, you know, sure you have the announcements that Kyler Murray signed with the Vikings. You also have the announcements that the Twins made 4 trades before the trade deadline to acquire some pitching help. You got LeBron, signing with Philadelphia. You have the Wolves making the trade for, they call LaMelo Yellow. Quite right, Slim. You have the announcement that Fee's back. You have the announcement that the Cleveland WNBA team is going to be called the Sirens. I mean, there's a lot of major announcements out there, but I think the biggest one was that Charch is back. And not with Pro Football Weekly. They can't do that anymore because I think he sold that lock, stock, and barrel for hundreds of millions of dollars. I think he's a multi-millionaire. So many of the people here, why did the money bypass you and me?
It's a great question.
You had a tarp shooter?
Meh.
Nah, didn't really work like you thought it was going. You were hoping to retire on that. My book, I was hoping to retire on it. Me and you, the returns, they're not even diminishing anymore. They've just diminished on my book. Meanwhile, Maestro of the Mornings, he's made millions of dollars.
Millions?
Millions of dollars coming up with a a board game. It's actually on air, too. It's called the Initials game. Did you advance initials? I can't remember.
The first round, yes.
First round. Has the second round happened yet? I'm sorry, I'm not up to date on my initials game.
No, there's 9 first-round matches.
Whoa.
And then after those 9 are done, then it'll be the semis, but they're not even scheduled yet until the 9 are done.
What do they think? The World Cup soccer? I mean, when is the champion going to be crowned?
No idea.
Yeah, I don't think they know either, because World Cup went for like a month. Maybe this will probably go longer.
So did the password tournament.
Yeah, well, that's true, too. But that's not nearly as popular, and we stole that.
It's a lot of schedules to coordinate together.
We pulled a Rosen on that one.
Yeah.
Rosen uses Lieber's Takes. We used a game that had been on television since the early 1960s. But it's been highly successful for us, and we're excited and delighted that people do enjoy listening to the back and forth and the fun and frivolity that is Program Password, which there might be one tomorrow, there might not. Tenneby is out. Max is in. Max texted me.
He's out too.
Right, correct. The very enterprising Phil and Fuller said, Common, you and I again. Abbott says, what are you guys going to talk about? And I said, Max and Common, what we always talk about, sex and drugs and rock and roll. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Sex and drugs and rock. Who did that song?
I don't know if I've heard that song.
It might be Iggy Pop. Yeah, I just remember the chorus. I don't remember the song, but that's the way it went. It went sex and drugs and rock and roll. Do. Probably not. I don't think quite as bad as 50 Cent's family friendly version of PIMP. PIMP. I don't
know what you've heard about me.
I talked to the Vikings about that, by the way.
Yeah.
How'd
that go?
They laughed. Let's just say this. I'm not really even sure what a pimp does for a living, but I know what kind of car he drives, and that's what I want. Okay, it's an old 1970s joke from my brother, the fastest rising young comedian in the country, and has been for about 50 years now. So, so Maestro of the Morning made big money. Charch made, that fan. And think about it. Why it's you know what it's like? I'm like do you know who Pete Best is, Tenneby?
No.
Pete Best was the original drummer for the Beatles. It was Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Pete Best. And Pete just wasn't the best fit, pardon the pun, for the Beatles, and they let him go. And they brought in Ringo Starr, and the rest is history. And poor Pete Best. Now, Pete used that, original Beatles drummer. He made a living doing it. He had the Pete Best band and was always Pete Best, formerly of the Beatles, right? And he made a living doing that, but certainly not the kind of living he made that Ringo made and all the other Beatles. But I'm like the Pete Best of Fantasy Football Weekly. I started that show with Charch and Rob Fithian. And then I said, I've had enough of that. I don't think there's a future in this. That's what I said.
I always love that one.
What was I thinking? I could have been part of that dynasty. I could have been part of that dynasty. I could have been a multimillionaire and living in the Grand Tetons in Utah, just like Charch is. Instead, here I am. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, stuck in the middle with you. Do you know who did that song, Tenneby? Band called Steelers Wheel.
And it was a one-hit wonder.
And Jerry Rafferty was I think he wrote the song. He certainly sang it. That was when he was with Steelers Wheel. And then he went solo, too. He went off and on his own, much like Charch did. But I told Charch, I saw him today, I bumped into him. He complimented me on the length of my hair. He says, you look like a long-haired hippie freak. And I said, and I need not apply. So I tucked up my hair up under my head, and I went in to ask him why. And he said, I said, I like the new name. Glad to have you back, Fantasy Football World. But I said, you should make it bigger. Fantasy Football Galaxy. Or Fantasy Football Universe. Well, and then I even said, this is how little I know. In a galaxy far, far away. I asked Charch, what's bigger, a galaxy or universe? He goes, well, the universe, because there's many galaxies in the universe. I did not know that.
We're the Milky Way.
Yeah, I personally like Snickers a little bit better. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
You're a candy aficionado. I know. I think the Power Trip didn't they do a candy bar bracket once? I bet they did. That's funny. You Three Musketeers guy, Snickers bar, Milky Way. I am Milky Way. I like Milky Way best.
You're adding Three Musketeers in there, though?
Yeah.
I would definitely take Snickers last. I'm not a nuts guy.
Yeah. Well, you are nuts.
I feel like Three Musketeers has a very unique taste to it. It's like different than any other candy bar. Like you can find other candy bars that are similar to Milky Way.
Yeah.
Three Musketeers has like never been replicated.
Yeah. I
would say Three Musketeers.
I'm a big fan of caramel. I bet you say caramel.
I'm a caramel guy.
I say caramel. Now, if you're talking about California, I say Carmel Bay. You know, if you're talking about California, but so yeah. But Charge laughed. He liked it, but I think he's going to keep it at. Then he thought it should be. He actually threw this in there. He said, "How about fantasy football Big Bang?" Right? Because the universe Big Bang. See that? Because world is, you know. I mean, don't they have like downtown Minneapolis Sex World? I mean, okay, it's a world. It's great. It's a world.
I was going to say, if you took out the football part and just said fantasy world, I think that people might interpret that differently.
Yeah, I think they would interpret that. Almost like if you see the word exotica on a billboard and it's got 3 X's.
Exotica.
Exotica, and it's got 3 X's, it immediately thinks, oh, I know how exotic they're getting here. Exotica. Joe Bonamassa. Metallica. So, someone, John Bryan came in the text line says, Common, you have the comedy tour Flop, Sweat and Tears selling out lots of events. You apparently haven't been to one lately. The sellouts are few and far between.
Maybe you need to name your next comedy tour Flop, Sweat and Tears Universe.
Oh, I like that.
Universe Tour.
The Universe Tour.
Yeah.
Or in the galaxy far, far away. Something like
Works for Charge. I would just copy everything he does.
Yeah. Well, there you are. Charge is back right up there with the announcement that the Power Trip Morning Show is going to Vegas. That was another big announcement. Remember when we set up for that big announcement? That's true. And then,
never saw that one coming either.
No, and then the Power Trip takeover of T.I.
Power
Taking over T.I. Yoga Pants Press. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got plenty to peek at with the purple controversial Vikings news on the other side of the break. But right now, did it be as a keyword for us right here on The Fan?
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword bonus at KFAN.com now. For shadowing, the keyword is bonus. Enter now at KFAN.com. Check out the KFN YouTube channel for exclusive videos, in-depth takes, initials, and password games, and behind-the-scenes content. Search KFN on YouTube and hit subscribe today.
Do you think the laughing at the Power Trip is getting to our listener who is annoyed by the I think that's getting to him now, too?
Most likely, but at this point, we have to do it through the state fair.
Yeah.
So that we have everyone laughing whenever the Power Trip's brought up.
That's exactly right. I think you're right there. Peek at the Purple. Is brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. If you are, let's say you're a little late to the game on your summer remodeling project. I guess it's late September back in '63. That would be December actually. But if you're planning a remodel of your home, whether it's a kitchen update, maybe a bathroom renovation, how about finishing your basement, maybe a garage build or a full home addition, Affordable Electric handles the wiring, the lighting, the panel upgrades, and inspections to keep your project safe and up to code. Before that drywall goes up, make sure the electrical is done right. 612-331-VOLT, 612-331-VOLT, or affordable-electric.com, affordable-electric.com, and remember they're shockingly affordable. I want to thank Alec Lewis of The Athletic for prepping us for Peek at the Purple today. Analysis. Why the Vikings run game is the most important subject at camp nobody is talking about. Apparently, according to Alec, the team has been, since the season ended last year, they've been trying to rewire their running game and try to make it a more prominent part of the offense.
And nobody's talking about it?
Some
people were talking about it.
Well, right, but I think what he's saying is
it's on the back burner.
Yeah, everybody's talking about the quarterback situation more than anything, and then what's Beeflo going to come up with defensively? As he says, he goes, if you look hard enough past the hoopla, the quarterback competition beyond the defense's dominance, you uncover a foundational difference this spring. After years of internal and external dissection, head coach Kevin O'Connell attempted to overhaul the Vikings run game. And there's a quote here from Christian Darrisaw that says, it's night and day different. You can feel it with what their preparations are and how they're going through the playbook and everything else. He says the run game transformation began in earnest the day after last season ended. Inside the locker room, some Vikings players filled trash bags with gears. Others hugged before departing for the offseason. Can you give me an awe? Can you give me an awe? Hugging, embracing. I even heard that PA was tickling the sides of many of the players. Right tackle and captain Brian O'Neill held court with reporters answering for a 6th straight season of no playoff success. His response to a question about the rushing attack landed like an anvil. Here's what he said. I thought when we were able to run the ball well, we seemed to win more games, right? It's kind of how it's always been in the NFL. You have to be able to do both to have success. I thought we finished strong this year. I was proud of that, but it's going to be on me and everybody else to try and find a dominant run game throughout the entire year. And had they listened to me earlier and signed more running backs and tried a new experiment that's never been done in the NFL. And, you know, I know Tennessee rolls his eyes, shrugs his shoulders, and rolls his eyes, shrugs, shakes his head, and many others did too. I mean, there's, but I will tell you this, and I'm not putting words in his mouth. Alec Lewis says he really likes the idea after giving it more thought. He thinks it's got some validity to it. And I know it sounds a bit crazy that you go out and you find 3 or 4 of the best running backs in pro football, and you sign them to a deal, and you explain to them, we're going to pay you what you would be paid if you carried the ball 25 times, but you're only going to be expected to carry it about 8 or 10 times. And when you tell the running back that this will extend your longevity, you'll be part of a new experiment, and we're going to get a ring out of the deal, I think most of them would go along with it. There are some that, you know, they're egos. I want to carry the ball 25 times. Good luck to you, and hopefully that career lasts more than 4 or 5 years. Because as we know, the running back position had been devalued for years, and running backs were getting one contract and that's it, and they were gone and go get another rookie. Whether that, you still have to have an offensive line, and whether that experiment would have worked, I don't know. You would have spent about the same for 4 top flight running backs as you would a wide receiver. Justin Jefferson's making $40 million in his contract. You could have signed 4 running backs for about $8 to $10 million apiece, but they didn't do that. But I am glad there's more of an emphasis on the run game. It goes back to, you know, I've talked about the Wilfs, and I've talked about Zimmer. You know, Zimmer loved the running game. I think, remember, he didn't even like quarterbacks, right? I don't think he liked quarterbacks. He didn't like throwing the ball. I think he was a guy that wanted to win championships. Old school, right? You know, defense wins championships. You know, I think the Wilfs were big admirers of the Giants. And if you remember, what was the Giants coach? What's his name? The old guy. Parcells, that's what he did. He would put together a dominant defense. He won, wasn't he the coach when both Hostetler won one and Phil Simms won a Super Bowl? They won big games with 2 quarterbacks that are ordinary at best. Why? Because their defense was really good and they could run the football. And it's not as exciting, especially if you're part of fantasy football world or fantasy football universe or fantasy football galaxy. I get it. You want the ball being thrown down the field, big passes, getting all kinds of points. I beat my opponent this week. I had 249.5 points. Who cares? I care about what happens on the gridiron. I'm about championships and parades and winning real football games. And so I just think you have to have a balanced attack. I don't want to see a team that runs the ball completely. I don't want to see that passes the ball. And I don't have the numbers in front of me. Maybe there has been a 50-50 mix for O'Connell. But it seems he, like a lot of these other guys, you know, it's the passing game is really in vogue. And your McVays and your Reeds and your Shanahans and all these guys, they throw the ball a lot. And that's fine and good. But I think O'Neill is spot on. If you can do both, you keep the opposition guessing. The best teams still do have a pretty good blend, right? And well,
not only you keep them guessing, but it's your crossword puzzle theory of there are going to be some weeks where you might have to throw the ball more depending on the competition and what their strengths and weaknesses are. And there are some weeks where it'd be nice to have a run game against this defense because they're a little more susceptible in that area. So, you know, every matchup is different.
Correct. That's it. That's absolutely right. And so I hope they are putting an emphasis on that. And Especially I think it would have helped a younger quarterback last year, a guy like McCarthy, because a lot's put on his shoulders, want to throw the ball. And, we talk about how complicated that offense is. It almost seems like every season the offensive schematics get more complicated. You got motion and guys going here and guys going there and all these different things happening, and it's all on timing and eyes and feet aligned and all this. And that's all good, I guess. That's just the way the league. Maybe if you don't do that, it's like, keeping up with the Joneses. If you don't continue to evolve your offense and make it even more complicated and make the passing game even more a priority, you're going to get eaten up, chewed up, eaten up, spit out, whatever, however you want to say it, by these defenses like the B-flows of the world. These defenses that they know what's coming. They've prepared for you. They're always morphing and changing what they do. But a balanced attack, I think, there are some, I don't want to call them absolutes in sports, but I think tend to be it's if you have a good, strong foundation of defense, regardless of the sport, stop the other team from doing the things they do well to put points on the board. And if you find a way to mix and match your offense and you keep them guessing, they're always on their heels, because that's why I do think running the quarterback from under center, which is what I think O'Connell likes to do a lot. I do like that, because if the guy's running out of shotgun, you're pretty much telling the defense, hey, we're passing the ball, right? Because you don't see a lot of runs off of a shotgun formation. And a quarterback should be able to, back in the day, I remember back when I first started watching football as a kid, late 60s to the 70s, I don't think there was such a thing as the shotgun formation. When did the shotgun formation come into vogue? Maybe, can you Google that? Because
I will.
I don't think it wasn't happening back in the Otto Graham days. Otto Graham or Graham. I'm a Graham guy. Otto Graham. Otto Graham. I'm a Graham guy. I like graham crackers too, especially if they're in s'mores. So, and now what do they call it? They call it the pistol. That's even newer. Where I think the pistol is just, you're not, instead of 7, steps behind the center, you're only like 3 or 4. But
so in the 1930s and 40s, elements appeared in college single wing and double wing spread offenses.
Oh.
The Philadelphia Eagles used a brief version with Tommy Thompson in the late 1940s. November of 1960, Red Hickey officially named and introduced the modern version.
Oh.
He positioned quarterback John Brody 7 yards back from the center to spark a struggling offense.
I did not know that it happened in the 60s. 1960 it happened, so I'm several decades off. But now it's become more in vogue, where it seems like most teams play out of a shotgun, oftentimes. So, it gives the quarterback more time to be able to peruse the field, as it were. But we'll see if the running game does indeed. I heard Charch at the end of the program. He likes the new kid. I don't know if he compared him to Jahmyr Gibbs like others have, but he thinks this. What's our new kid's name? The 6th-round pick?
Devon Claiborne.
He thinks the kid's going to be really good. He thinks he's got stick-to-itiveness, in-state-to-itiveness, stick-around power. So we'll see if that's the case. Let's break, and we'll come back with more. This was Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. All of your electrical needs, affordable-electric.com. More with 10 to be in common on the Common Man program on the Fan.
The Common Man.
You sound high, but you don't sound that drunk.
Weekdays at noon on The Fan.
iHeart. Follow Skin.
Voice heard on the Bradshaw and Brian text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Many thanks to I don't know a name. I just have the phone number on the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line. But text messenger says, tell Common the song Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll is from the act Ian Drury and the Blockheads. And it is. I just listened to it. I didn't know who did the song. It's Ian Dury. I'm sorry, Dury, D-U-R-Y, from 1977. And I may have heard of the act before, but I don't recall it. But the way I was singing the song, well, his voice is very unique, but that's just what he was singing. Sex and drugs and rock and roll. That's all my body needs to know. Oh, what do they think of next, Tennessee? It's madness.
I wouldn't play that at any Vikings practices.
I wouldn't play that at Vikings practices. Absolutely not. I wouldn't play it. I think you want a friendly family environment. I don't think, Dad, what's he singing about sex and drugs and rock and roll? I don't think you want to do that. I maybe shouldn't even be talking about it on the air right now. But I did. Wow. Wind is kind of out of my sails a little bit. Tennessee for soon to be World Series champion Minnesota Twins. They lose last night. I ducked into the game late. Dean, and do we know it's Kremer? I don't know if it's Kramer. Our newest, one of our newest acquisitions. He's a starting pitcher that we acquired from the Baltimore Orioles. He gave up 1 run in 5 innings during his Twins debut. You would think that's pretty good, but the Cameron guy, he's when he faces the Twins, he's
Dean
like
Kramer.
So it is Kramer.
Dean Kramer.
The Cameron kid for Kansas City, a southpaw, crafty. He's like a combination of Warren Spahn, Johnny Sane, and Denny McClain. I mean, the numbers that we have posted against him, he's had 4 starts against the Twins this year, Tennessee. Here's what his numbers are. A 0.67 ERA in 27 innings, giving up just 10 hits and 2 earned runs. We lose 2-1 last night. The offense just can't get going. We've lost 4 in a row now. Are we 2 out of a wild card, I think?
Somehow still just 1 out of a wild card.
1 out of a wild card.
But the Detroit Tigers have a message for the Minnesota Twins.
No.
Objects in your mirror may be closer than they appear.
They're only a half game behind us.
Cameron, I think, pitched 8 innings last night, retired his last 14 hitters. You're right, Tennessee. You summed it up exactly. 3 games under 500, 1 game out of a playoff spot, 4-8 against the last place Royals this season, and it's disappointing. And then to add injury to insult, things don't look good for Joe Ryan. His last 4 outings have been. For Joe Ryan, they've been abysmal.
Yes.
Right? I mean, he is the
standard he set.
Yeah, the standard he set. He's developed into a quality starting pitcher. He has Bobby Nightingale writes the piece for Fish Wrap Factory West Side today. Says Twins All-Star pitcher Joe Ryan getting evaluated for injury could wind up on the injured list. Ryan owns a 7.59 ERA over his last 4 starts. His fastball velocity has been down from his season average. Shelty, that's a Twins manager, he says, we owe it to Ryan and to us to find out what he's feeling and how he's going about it. He's going to be evaluated for a lower back glute injury. We have to figure out where he's at and what's going on. Most importantly, we have to do what's best for Joe Ryan. To be healthy last night, 5 runs, 4 of them earned, 7 hits, 5.5 during that 8-2 last. It was 2 nights ago, not last night, the night before. And you know, it's I'm not saying it's typical of Minnesota sports because it's not every Minnesota sport, but. Oftentimes it seems like when something really good happens or something encouraging happens, then the other shoe drops, right? Teams playing well enough to be around 500, weak AL Central. Tom Pohlad running the show finally decides we need to reverse course finally. We're going to go out. We're going to go trade for some players, trade some prospects, get some reinforcements, build up the bullpen. course, we had a bullpen last year. We wouldn't have had to build up the bullpen if we had not tore it down. But we did. That's when Joe was running the show. When Joe was running the show, and now it's Tom, who is I want Tom. And so Tom's the one that's running the show now. And so we go up, we get reinforcement, and think, here we go. And then all of a sudden, well, wait, our best pitcher now can't pitch. He's just been ineffective. And Tenby, I remember when he had the 2 bad outings back to back. I said, look, at every starter, every good pitcher throws a lemon every once in a while, right? It's going to happen. You're not going to have your best stuff every single night. They're going to be the other guys on the other side of the field. They're pros. They can see a pitch coming sometimes, and that velocity thing is it like 1.1 miles per hour slower? You wouldn't think that would make that much of a difference, would you? But obviously, I think it does. Or is Joe disappointed he didn't get traded? Maybe he was hoping to get traded. Because I don't think I've ever heard him complain about being on the team. I think he and Pablo were both disappointed a couple of years ago when the Twins decided they'd had enough of Sonny Gray. They didn't want to meet his salary demands, which he signed with the Cardinals. I think it was 3 years, $75 million, so $25 million a year. And I was, I think I was as disappointed as Pablo and Joe were. And I know people came back at me and said, well, look what he's done at the Cardinals. He hasn't done very well. And he didn't do particular. But, the thing is you don't know that. If you could read the future, then you would never have a bad player in your team and you'd always have good players. Yeah. Sonny Gray had been a great pitcher for us. Really good. I mean, great may be a stretch, but he's really good. And yet you were going to
professional pitcher.
Yeah, and it was winning more than he was losing. He was giving you quality starts. So you bring him back with the other 2, and if you got 3 guys at your rotation that you can go, I put these guys up pretty much against anybody except the very best of the best. Then you're in pretty good shape. But Joe now has 4 in a row, and if it is injury related, if he goes on, has there been anything? I've not seen anything yet today. There are no announcements as far as I know about.
He's not unofficial yet, but okay, they're looking at it.
Right. So if he goes, do you know the rule? If you're on the 15-day, do you have to stay out for 15, no matter what? Like if all of a sudden you feel better 3 days later?
No, you're on for the 10.
Yeah. Okay. So, that's a couple of that's a couple of starts. And, we could go with Dobnak, but we don't have him anymore. And now he's lighting it up for Kansas City. So, yeah, and again, we're only a game out of the wild card. And the division's not out of the question, right? I mean, the Chi Sox have us by 4?
They're up 4.
And, I know 4, that's a decent amount, but it's still early enough in the season. We've got all of August, the rest of August, all September. And the White Sox, I don't know. I guess for the White Sox to be, it's more now there's a larger sample size.
Sure.
I don't think this was all by accident, because they were just, I don't have their numbers in front of me, but I think the last 4 or 5 years, they've been one of the worst teams.
Really bad.
Yeah, the White Sox and the Rockies have been battling it out for the worst team in pro baseball. At the highest level, they were the worst of the highest level teams. And so you think, well, okay, they got off to a nice start, maybe, quirk in the scheduling. They were playing other bad teams. We've seen teams get off to red hot starts. Well, we saw the Twins. Was it how many years ago was that now where we just totally collapsed? Was that 2 years ago or last? Was that was 2
last
years
year
ago?
They collapsed.
Yeah. But we lost all those. We were riding high for a while. Then all of a sudden we lost. We went like 12-36 or something in our last 50 games or whatever it was. So, but the White Sox don't seem like they're backpedaling at all. Although they still could. And if they run into a little bit of a slump or an injury issue, so we're right there. But without Ryan. You and I talked about this yesterday. If he's out for a significant amount of time, I just don't like their chances. Much like if Buxton is out for a significant amount of time, and isn't it ironic, if that's the right word? I'd have to ask Pat Royce if we're using it correctly. Our 2 All-Stars are both, because Buxton's not back yet, right? Nope. So Buxton's out. Ryan looks like he could be going out. And when you only have 2 All-Stars, you don't have them playing for you. And the Lewis kid, he's brilliant and brutal. You know, I mean, he'll hit you a 3-run home run to win you a game, or, you know, what he hit that way. Was it a triple off the wall for a walk-off? And then there was the game, last series, in which he had runners on second and third. He strikes out, and then he makes the blunder at first base when he could have had a double play to get the Twins out of the inning and send it to extras. But then he'll hit a homer. So we have some. They kept Larnach, which I love. I'm sorry, I'm about winning now. The future's now, and trading Larnach for help, I get it. You got to give something up to get something. They wanted the Abreu guy out of Houston, but one of the major reasons you're in contention is because of Trevor Larnach. And you can say we have a glut. It's the word they love to use. We have a glut, which wouldn't be a Wordle word because you have to have. How do you doing on Wordleton? Are you still do well? I got tripped up.
I'm on like a 86 game streak or something like that.
Wow, I've gotten tripped up a few times. Do you do the shuffle-o?
Yeah.
Do you ever I get so frustrated sometimes I just start mashing letters on him because I can usually get the first 3 or 4, but then when it gets down to those last 2, it's maddening to me. It's just my mind can't work like that. That's too much going on at one time. But anyway, what were we talking about?
Twins, Royce Lewis.
Oh, yeah. So Larnach, we
said glut. That's what led
glut.
to
Yeah. I mean, we have a glut of corner outfielders. Well, I think that glut has been stuck in a rut because I went to it was one game. I went to the Saints game 2 weekends ago, Saturday game. And who's our Walker character?
Walker Kessler.
Or
is that the player that used to play for the Jazz?
Maybe that's it. Or is it Texas Ranger, TV show guy?
That's Walker Jenkins.
Yeah.
Walker Kessler was the big man for the Jazz.
Yeah, Walker Jenkins.
That we traded in the Gobert trade.
Walker Jenkins looked more like Walker Kessler trying to play baseball. He just wasn't that good that night, and so he's a ways off, and I don't know how close the other guys are. And there's no guarantee those guys are going to be any good. We already know Larnach is good. He's playing well. Why do we develop players and then trade them? What would be the sense of that? And the only reason Larnach's still on the team, if you believe the media reports, and I guess I'll trust him, was because the Houston Astros owner banged a trash can and said, no way, we're not making that trade. And that's what nixed it. And so if it wouldn't have been for him, Larnach wouldn't be on the team anymore. But I don't know. It's kind of unfortunate. The team finally decides to actually, let's be buyers at the trading deadline, and then your key players are hurt. Especially the pitching just kills you because we'd already lost Lopez for the year. Now, did they send Zebby down? I thought Zebby was tearing it up.
They sent him down, yeah.
But now I think he might have to come back up. If indeed Ryan goes on the IL or IR, whatever they call it. I'd forgotten the Twins are playing a Field of Dreams game, aren't they?
Yes, against Philadelphia.
Was it Ken Shea wrote it today for Fish Wrap Factory Westside? I'd forgotten that they were. It was announced. I don't know if it was announced last year or the year before, whatever. But I'd spaced it out. August 13th. Now it all comes back to me. Well, at least momentarily. Last night during the telecast, they put up the Twins' schedule, almost like the pocket schedule that Rosen carries in his wallet. And there was a gap in the Philadelphia series. And I was going, why would they have, I know at the beginning of the year, because in case of weather postponements, that they'll have a day, but I was wondering, that's why they're going to be playing Field of Dreams game. Dyersville, Iowa. The game will not be played on the diamond from the movie itself, but rather a specifically constructed stadium nearby. I didn't know that. It's not the same. Why isn't it on the field that was constructed for the movie? It's called MLB at Field of Dreams. The game is one of the league's specialty games played at neutral site stadiums around the country. Typically 2 per season, one being the Little League Classic at Williamsport, Pennsylvania. This is the third edition of the Field of Dreams, but is returning after a 3-year hiatus. Hall of Fame slugger Frank. Wasn't Frank Thomas known as the Big Unit? No.
The Big Hurt.
Big Hurt. What a great nickname. The Big Hurt. Problem was he was hurt a lot. No, I don't think he was. Was he healthy his career? The CEO of the Go the Distance baseball group that owns the site told the Des Moines Register that no game would be held in Dyersville in 2023 because of construction for planned youth baseball and softball fields. In 2024, Major League Baseball held a game between San Fran and St. Louis at Rickwood Field in Birmingham as a tribute to the Negro Leagues. In 2025, MLB Speedway Classic between Atlanta and Cincinnati was played before an announced 91,032 fans at Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee. Did they use the actual oval of the racetrack as the warning track? What did they do? I don't remember that one. I mean, I remember announcing it, but I did not watch the game. I'd rather they play at Talladega. That's my favorite raceway, but I might have to give that a try. What
week from today?
No outfield seating available. As you would imagine, there is for Ray Bolger. He has a seat out in right field, but they prop him up actually on a stake. 7,800 fans. Tickets have been long sold out. 7,800 is about the actual Twins attendance for every game at the Goose that laid the golden. You know what? We're going to start selling more tickets. I did like Tom.
Now that ownership has credibility.
Yeah, well, I like how Tom threw that in there. I mean, this is the other thing I do like about Tom. I like Tom. He basically said, well, yeah, I certainly hope this translates into more people buying tickets. You know, I mean, we're trying to spend money to make money. It's a novel concept, novel idea. Imagine that. Hey, it's only what you've been saying forever, Tenneby. Guess what? If you field a really good product and you win a bunch of games, people are going to go, that looks like fun. And if the baseball team's having fun and the people that are in the stands are having fun, everybody's having fun. And guess what? They're going to buy tickets. They're going to tell their friends. They're going to buy concessions. And everybody's going to be happy. That's how it works. And so that's what happens at Field of Dreams. Plenty of tickets are being sold on the secondary market, but the cheapest that the fish wrap could find were going for $800. And the most expensive ran for more than $6,000.
Wow.
To sit in a cornfield. I'll just wait for one of the October Halloween mazes, and I'll just give $5 to that and just run around there for a while instead. $6,000 tend to be to go to. And again, I know there's people that have disposable income like that, and you're disposing of it. You're just throwing it away, as far as I'm concerned. But that's all good too. I didn't know this. Our St. Paul Saints are going to play in that stadium Tuesday.
Well, yeah, play as many games as you can there.
Saints against the Iowa Cubs. Tickets are still available from Minor League Baseball's website. Cheapest ticket for $104.50. Is 50 cent going to be there? And the most expensive costing $154. $154. Prices were even lower from ticket resellers. The cheapest tickets were about $60. The most expensive were $250. Well, cool. Kind of looks like the size of a St. Paul Saints field. Yeah. Netflix is going to stream the game, so you got to have a prescription to that if you want to watch it. Twins will be wearing their pinstriped white uniforms based on their home look at the old Metropolitan Stadium. I do miss Metropolitan Stadium. I don't want to go back to it. Well, you can. It's not there anymore. But I did like that. That was fun as a kid. I told you it's the first place. We took a field trip in 5th grade went to the Twins game. God, that was fun. I loved that. That was a good time. But anyway, Field of Dreams. We wish the Twins well. Let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have 534 coming your way after the top of the hour. The legendary one, Mark Rosen. I'm going to blow his cover, too, before the 2 o'clock hour begins. But we'll take a break. We'll come back. Tenneby's got a tease for us.
It's back.
The Common Man.
This is one of the least funny shows that has ever existed.
Correct.
And it's breaking.